Prophecy, your wish is my command.
Welcome to the realest channel on YouTube, Anime Truth Seekers, and you're listening to the Child of Prophecy.
And Miss Mango, be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe to see more content in the future.
So, would Naruto survive without Kurama? Do you think Naruto would survive without Kurama?
That's a very good question. I think that Naruto probably wouldn't survive without Kurama. Only because Kurama has pretty much prevented him from dying so many times. Because there's been so many instances because of Naruto's personality and the way he just jumps into things without really thinking things through. You know, Kurama wasn't there to really help him. He would have been died many times.
That's a good point, but you also gotta think of situational things such as would he be in certain missions or be in such danger if he did not have Kurama, though?
I think he would, just because of how he is. It's like, you gotta think about it. Naruto himself was always, like, in a way, he was always trying to prove himself because everybody saw him as the weakest, right? And he couldn't really do much of anything without Kurama. As much as he tried, remember how he tried to do the clone jutsu? He struggled. If he didn't get that scroll, he would have never been able to do it at all, right? So the fact that he was struggling so much and didn't want to be seen in a certain way, especially when he was competing with Sasuke, I feel like he still would have did that, and he still would have put himself into certain situations that would cause him to pretty much die or almost die.
Well, it also depends as well. The certain missions that he was on, if he didn't have Kurama, if they didn't expect the potential after seeing what Kurama could do, would they even allow him on certain missions that would put him in that much danger as a ninja?
I
Because
think they would.
when you think about the weakest ninjas on the show,
Mm-hmm.
they're not sent out on. They're usually in the village guarding the village. They're not really out on missions like that. Would they consider him one of those elite ninjas where he's worthy of going with Kakashi and Sakura and Sasuke on these specific missions?
You gotta think about it. When he was at that point, when Kurama was so pivotal for him and saving him in many situations, he was on a team with Sasuke and with Sakura. Sakura, the one who always needed to get saved for everything, and she was still sent on those types of missions, even though she really, like, from based off of how it shows, she didn't have much potential and she didn't really have much going for her altogether. She was considered a weak ninja. It just happened that she got lucky to get stuck on a certain team at that point. So it's like, I think regardless, he still would have ended up on those missions because he was on that team, not necessarily because, you know, he had Kurama.
Well, I agree that he would definitely have died without Kurama, because plot armor saved him a million times because Kurama did not want to die, you know? So I agree that he would have died, but survival without Kurama is kind of like a different story. It's like, I don't think it would have went the way it went. I feel like he acts the way he acts because he had Kurama, and that made him kind of weak because he was always bashed and banished for having that. So they probably consider him as a weak ninja because they felt like he wasn't even supposed to be in the village from the beginning. He was so bashed and so distanced that they didn't know his real skills.
Mm-hmm.
So he was forced to prove himself. But if he was just a regular ninja without Kurama, it wouldn't have been. He would have had more time to train and be, to fit in, you know, to fit into what a typical ninja is, such as Shikamaru or Choji. He probably would have been one of those type of ninjas instead of a weak ninja they consider him because they're like, he's an outcast because he has a Jinchuriki. He's a Jinchuriki, basically.
Yeah, but you gotta think about it. For example, when they were doing the exam, right? The test, tuning exams.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, all of them were stuck in that forest, right? With Orochimaru running wild. That had nothing to do with a mission, right? Regardless, he would have died then. Like, think about it. You know,
Were you saying he would have died without Kurama?
Yeah, if he didn't have Kurama at that point, he would have died. Like, you know, taking missions out of it and everything else. Like, because he was around him at a certain point, or if he happened to run. Remember, he almost got ate by that snake at that one
no,
point.
he wouldn't have died. The Shadow Clone saved him from the snake, but I don't think he would have died because Orochimaru was not after him. He was after Sasuke. He didn't kill him purposefully that day, because when he had the encounter with Jiraiya and Tsunade in Naruto, he wished himself that episode that he would have killed Naruto because he saw his hidden potential. He said I should have killed him back in those days when he came across him that time. So I don't think he would have died in that situation, but in the future, like, say if he wanted to go after Sasuke without Kurama, he would have died.
He would have died.
Because Sasuke broke his neck, and there would have been no Kurama to bring him back. He Chidori'd him straight in his arm, and there would have been no Kurama to heal him.
Exactly.
There's plenty of Zabuza and Haku. He would have died there. It just Kurama saves his life. So I agree that he would have definitely died, but I think in situational circumstances, as a regular ninja, and if he was so weak as they made it seem to be, I don't think he would have even gotten that far. They wouldn't have kept giving him missions. They wouldn't have kept protecting him. They wouldn't have kept seeing his potential to see if he could master Kurama without Kurama. It might not even have been called Naruto.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta think about it. It's like, regardless of whether or not he would have been considered a weak ninja without Kurama, like, he still would have been put on a lot of missions. Like, think about it. Like, it's not like they only were put on, you know, crazy missions. Remember there was a lot of random episodes where they were just running around finding cats and stuff, lost cats and stuff like that. I feel like they'd still throw him on the missions regardless. And it's like, you gotta think about it, the other teams, regardless, were also sent on pretty ridiculous missions.
Those weak missions, but at the same time, would he be as arrogant as he is now about those missions?
Of course. I think it's just like, regardless, his personality. That's what really made him that way.
Yeah, but I get that, but you gotta understand too, if his parents were alive, would he have that personality?
But then that's another conversation. Are we just taking away Kurama from him, or are we taking away his entire life circumstance?
Would he survive without Kurama is the topic.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be Kurama if his parents were alive. So
not necessarily, because Fourth Hokage could have died on a mission.
No, but Kurama wouldn't have been implanted in Naruto.
Yeah.
So then he wouldn't have Kurama. But okay, if his parents, say if the Fourth Hokage died, his mother still would probably be alive. So he would have a father or a mother figure at least in his life to where they would have him under control, like how Sakura's parents have her under control.
But you gotta think about it. If there was no Kurama, Kushina wouldn't be there in the first place.
That's true.
So then he might not even come to an existence. It'd be a whole other story at that point.
Oh, new topic. He wouldn't be alive without Kurama. Just change the whole plot around. Well, however it goes, without Kurama, he would not be here, is the point. I agree with that. Yes. I still feel like it's situational, because if he didn't have it, if there was another situation where he didn't have it at all, I think his whole personality would be different. I think his personality would be more like how he is now as Hokage. It'll be more calm and more, because you grew up with a family, hopefully, you know.
Yeah. Or if that was the case, yeah. If he still had his family around. Yeah. And then like Kurama wasn't a factor, then yeah, he probably would be a little bit different. He'd probably be a little bit more regular, and I mean, but it also depends. If he still saw Sasuke as a rival, he could have potentially still acted a certain way, but he probably wouldn't be as bad as he was when he was younger, because he had nobody else.
He wouldn't have seen Sasuke as a rival, because the reason he saw Sasuke as a rival is because he felt like they connected in the depressions type of state of mind. They both went through trauma. If he didn't go through the trauma he had to go through, then
think about it. Before Sasuke lost his parents, he was still competing with him. When he was younger, they have episodes where he's like small, walking past, seeing Sasuke chilling, and he's like,
Sasuke lost his parents at a very young age.
Well, I know he lost them at a young age, but
That's when they
Even-
started competing. It was after. That's when he started chilling
Was it
with
really
Sasuke.
after?
Yeah, it wasn't
I thought it was
beforehand.
even before
I don't even
then.
think he knew Sasuke before his parents, because that's when Sasuke was moved to the Hidden Leaf Village without the Uchiha, basically.
No,
So-
because remember they were at the school even when he was a kid. Remember, what'd you call it?
He always had the
Itachi.
he always had the skills. He always had those. You're saying before?
No, I'm saying like they were in the school going, pretty much competing with each other even back then. Because remember there was a whole scene. I don't know if you remember this scene from this episode when Itachi pretty much saw Sasuke at the school, and it was him and Naruto fighting with each other. But the whole Uchiha clan was still alive at that point. But he still saw him as a rival.
Did he see him as a rival, or was he
Mhm.
just jealous?
No,
of him?
they were competing. It's a
But
whole-
that's just childish. I'm saying at this
It's
point,
like the way that
that's
they
just-
portrayed it is
Yeah.
pretty much as if they were rivals back then. Because I think what was it, like Sasuke had beat him at something, and he was mad about it. Like they were going back. I don't know if it was a race. It was something that they were doing that pretty much made it seem like they were competing. They were rivals even at that point. That's the only reason why I say that. I think it was like he would still kind of be on that same level of how he acted, because he was kind of competing and seeing Sasuke as a rival in that way even back then.
Well, let's see what the audience says about it in the comments, and we'll see what the truth is. What the anime truth is from the anime truth seekers. If you
Yes.
guys think that we made some points, let us know in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and share.
Yes, make sure I hit that like button, subscribe, share, notification bell, all that good stuff. Let us know what y'all thought, whose opinion was a little bit more concrete. You
As
know?
always, of course, is mine.
No,
Regardless, it's mine.
it's
So
definitely mine.
we'll see what happens in the comment
Yes,
section.
we shall.
And we'll see you in the next episode of Anime Truth Seekers.
Peace.